Welcome to Suhail's Paramedical and Nursing Academy. In the previous lecture, I was explaining about the cell physiology. In cell physiology, what I explained I explained about the structure of the cell and the different functions of the cell by explaining the different organelles within the cell. And after the cell, I explained the transport across the cell. It was the topics which are going on in the physiology. In the same parallel to this, there was one topic, one of the interesting thing that mostly in many paramedical courses and in case of BSc nursing, there is one unit that is called as biodiversity. Today, I am going to explain about biodiversity. What is actually the biodiversity? In this topic, it may take 2 to 3 parts, but today I am going to explain that what is first biodiversity, the different things that we should explain in the biodiversity, then the levels of biodiversity. In the levels of biodiversity, I have to explain what is coming inside the levels of biodiversity. So first I will tell, actually before going to the topic biodiversity, we should know what is the meaning of bio. What is the meaning of bio? Bio means life. Bio means life. And diversity means the variety and variability. The variety and variability. The variety and variability. See, what will happen in case of biodiversity? We are going to know about how the life is diverse on the earth, how the life is diverse on biosphere, how the life is diverse on the universe. So in this topic we are going to explain that. But before that, I will tell one thing. So bio means life and diversity means the variety, the variability of the life is called biodiversity. First, what is the definition for that? For the biodiversity, then I will explain in very clearly. See, first, biodiversity can be defined as the variety and variability of living organisms which are present on the earth. Before I am going to explain, see here, we all know that on the earth, on the biosphere, there are different types of organisms. There are different types of living organisms. The living organism can be a bacteria, it can be we can say microbe. In microbes, we know what are coming in the microbes. It can be a bacteria, or it can be a virus. That comes in the microbes. It can be a bacteria, it can be a virus, it can be a prion, it can be a virion. So these all comes there as microbes. So it may be a microbe, any small organism that we cannot see by the naked eyes. So it can be a microbe, it can be a fungi, or it can be a protozoa. It can be a protozoa that may be also seen by naked eyes or may not be seen by the naked eyes. That is protozoa. Protozoa is fungi. Protozoa, it can be a plant or it can be animal. So we are seeing that here is a variety and variability on the earth. See, if you are seeing the microbes, as per the scientific data, we can't know the actual number of microbes on the earth. We don't know how many microbes are there on the earth. We don't know how many bacteria are there on the earth. So this is the vast science. Scientists are trying to know the number of bacteria which are present on the earth. They are trying to know the number of plants, the number of fungi, the number of protozoa, the number of animals on the earth. But still the scientists are unable to find all the members of these organisms. See, what actually happens? Actually, this is the cause is biodiversity. The life is diverse. We cannot calculate everything on the earth. So life is diverse at every level. See here, what is biodiversity? So biodiversity is what? It is an variety and variability. It is an variety and variability. It is an variety and variability. It is an variety and variability among on earth. Variety and variability on earth of living organisms. On earth of living organisms. See here. So living organisms are variable. One is variety. Variety means there will be different types of living organisms, and variability means within the same living organism, if you find, suppose if we are humans, so humans are different from human is in one species. So if we see human species, then other species, chimpanzees and another species. If we see, there will be difference between these two species, and inside the humans also, if we are going for the analysis, there is difference inside the humans also. So there is variety and variability of living organisms. So this was all about what is biodiversity. So life is diverse, you all understood. Now I am going to tell about what are the levels of biodiversity. So this was what is biodiversity. What are the levels of biodiversity? Level means the levels of biodiversity. See here, levels of biodiversity. Levels of biodiversity. See, I will explain levels of biodiversity. There are three levels. Level means level. What is the meaning of level here? See here. Actually, what are the different levels where we can see the bio life is diverse. The life is having variety and variability. See, there are three levels. One is called as genetic level. Genetic biodiversity. Genetic biodiversity. Okay. Second is called as species biodiversity. Species biodiversity. The third is called as ecosystem biodiversity, or we can say ecological biodiversity. See here, what I am going to explain. See here, the genetic biodiversity. See, the diversity will be present at genetic level also. Actually, so these are the three levels of biodiversity: genetic, species, and ecological diversity. At genetic level, we will also find there is diversity of life. In species diversity, when we are going for the species analysis, we will find there is a diversity of the animal, there is a diversity of life, there is a diversity of species. When we are going to the analysis of ecosystem, there is the diversity within ecosystem also. See, I will tell one by one. The first is genetic biodiversity. Levels of biodiversity. The first level is genetic biodiversity. See here, the first level is genetic. We all know genetic biodiversity. See here, how there is diversity at the genetic level. How there is diversity at the genetic level. See, I am going to tell that. See here, when we are going for the analysis of the human, see, this is a human being. This is a human being. If you are going inside the human being, if you find within the human being there is an molecule that is called as DNA. That is called a nucleic acid. That is the nucleic acid in humans is the nucleic acid found in the human is DNA. If you are going for the analysis of DNA, see here what you will find. Even except monozygote twins, if you are going for the analysis of DNA within the human being, different individuals within the same species of, that is because human is the same species is same. In case of human, all the humans are coming in the same species, and if we are taking two individuals, even though if they are relative also, if we are taking two individuals within the humans, two human beings which may be relative also, which may not be. If we take relative also, there will be at least there is 99.9%. 99% DNA is same. 99% DNA is same, and 0.1% DNA is variable. See, we have find the variability at genetic level also. 0.1% DNA you will find variable. This 0.1% DNA is showing the variety within the human beings also. Now you can understand why we are different. Why human beings are also different in shape of the body, in the structure of the body, in the characteristics of the person, in the behavior of the person. This all is 0.1% DNA is variable there. So this was genetic level also. In genetic level also we are finding there is diversity. There is diversity within the living organisms. So that is why this 0.1% DNA is used for DNA fingerprinting. When you are going for biotechnology, in biotechnology, suppose when the case is coming, in case of forensic science means suppose anywhere there is going on murder. When murder happen, suppose if it is not murder, when there is a conflict between the two parents, that one is saying this child is mine, another is saying this child is mine. What is done there? See here. Now what the forensic biologists, what they will do, Here in forensic science, this 0 point DNA, we all know this is variable. They will take this DNA of one person and DNA of two person. Those who are saying that we are the children, we are the father of that suppose that children, and I told about murder. Suppose if anyone has done murder, we will take those persons who suppose there are 4 persons. About the police is saying, about the judicial department is saying that there may be the chances that these 5 may have done this murder. Then what we will do, the DNA from these 5 or 2 persons we will take, and we will go for DNA fingerprinting. DNA fingerprinting. In DNA fingerprinting, in DNA fingerprinting, we can easily know that who is the person who is responsible for the murder, or who is the father of that child. So actually this was variety and variability that is found in the human beings. So there will be less difference in the DNA. The DNA will be similar to between the two persons, because father and children, they will be similar in the DNA, so we can easily find the. So actually this was a different concept I have taken here, but that is what is also called as variable number of tandem repeats, VNTR. This 0.1% is actually a variable number of tandem repeats, because this is a variable, it is variable among the human beings, and this DNA is repeating many times. That is why it is a repetitive DNA. So this is called as VNTR, variable number of tandem repeats. 0.1% DNA I have told is different among the humans also. So this is the biodiversity at the genetic level. Now after the DNA, you go inside the humans, there is a cell. This was all about the humans I told. See, if you are going for the cellular level, in cell there are also types. One is prokaryotic, another is eukaryotic. Now in the prokaryotic also you will find in prokaryotic also you will find that there are archibacteria, there are eubacteria. So you have found the difference within difference. And in eukaryotic also we will find different structure of the cell. So cell is also showing the diversity. And after cell, when we are going for the structure of the different types of individuals, at the structure level also, these cells, when we are going for combinations, they form different tissues, they form different organ system. That all is a biodiversity. See here, this was genetic level biodiversity I told. And there is a plant, one plant that is called Rawulfia vomitoria. Rawulfia vomitoria is a plant. This plant is giving one chemical that is called a reserpine. This reserpine has a medical value. If you find this reserpine also from the same plant, we are getting reserpine. Same species we are getting the reserpine. Same species Rawulfia vomitoria, we are getting the reserpine chemical. This chemical is also showing that so much of patency, it will treat different types of disease. See, variety and variability has been found. In reserpine also, actually reserpine will be having different chemical structure. That will be helpful in medical science. So this was all about this one plant that produces Rawulfia vomitoria. That Rawulfia vomitoria produces reserpine. So now we will go for the next, that is species biodiversity. This was first genetic diversity. Now we will go for the species diversity. So in the species level also, species diversity is what actually, at the species level also we will find variety and variability. Species level means first we have to know what is the species. Species is genetic, we all know genetic means gene. The word genetic came from the gene. Gene is a part of the DNA. In DNA there are different types of genes. Those genes actually show the variety and variability. That is why we call it genetic biodiversity. Now at species level, different species also show the variety and variability. That is also called as species. That is called as species biodiversity. At the species level, I will give an example for understanding how there is species biodiversity. See here, species biodiversity I am going to explain. See, there are different types of species. Suppose if we are going for the analysis, if we are going for the biological system, you see here, one is kingdom. First, the last taxonomical category is kingdom, then division, then the lowest is division. When kingdom is made up of division is made up of class is made up of order is made up of family is made up of genus. Genus is made up of species. So this species is the last one. So genus is made up of species. If we break species, there will be individuals. So actually, human is one species, and human is one species. Cat is another species. Cat is another species. Similarly, if we have in plants also there are different types of species. Now this is actually different types of species are there. In species also there is variety and variability. We will find in species what I am going to say explain. See here, if we are going for the tropical rainforest, see here. Now I will say some facts about the species. So diversity at the species level. See here some facts I am going to explain. That is tropical. There is one forest that is called as tropical Amazonian tropical Amazonian rainforest. Okay. So there is one forest that is tropical Amazonian rainforest. Tropical Amazonian rainforest. What actually is this rainforest? This rainforest is having highest biodiversity, highest species diversity on Earth. So if you are going in the analysis on the Earth, if you want to see where is highest species biodiversity, then you have to go for tropical Amazonian rainforest. Tropical Amazonian rainforest is having highest biodiversity on the Earth. This was the first point. After that, if you are what is there? Actually, see here. This was where is found highest species biodiversity. Actually, when scientists are going to know about the species, how many species are there? As per Robert May, there are how many species? There are 7 million species. As per Robert May was a scientist. He made an calculation. This calculation is not the correct calculation, but this is considered as logical. This calculation is considered as acceptable. So the Robert May told that there are 7 million species on the Earth. There are 7 million species on the Earth. And remember, another data says that 22% species only has been discovered. Only 22% species has been discovered till that. So you can understand, yet scientists have not found how many species are on the Earth. Another data is there. This was 22 species are found on the Earth. This was Robert May told how many species are there. Now we will go for another point. That is, if you go for the India, if you go inside the India, see, this is an India. What will happen inside the India? India is having 2.4% area cover. If you are going for the analysis in whole world, if you are for this world, in world there is 2.4% area. There is 2.4% area covered by India, and there is 8.1% species diversity in India. See how many species. So that is why India is coming among the 17 mega biodiversity countries. So India is having 2.4% area only, but it is having 8.1% species diversity. That means India is having one of the high biodiversity. It is one of the high among the high biodiversity countries. See here. So now I am going to tell that this was India about the you should write this all the points what I am saying, that if you are going for the analysis, if you want to find that if India is having this much of species, then India is among the 17. There are see, I will tell also there are 17 mega biodiversity countries. India is coming among 17 mega biodiversity countries. So there are 17 countries actually. There are 70 countries actually which are considered to be having highest species biodiversity. So those countries, these countries are 70s. These countries are considered to be 70s. There are China, there is Brazil, there is Malaysia, there is Congo. There are there is China, there are different types, there are different countries, and India is also among these 17 mega biodiversity countries. Mega means highest, mega means big, biodiversity means high, biodiversity, there is highest mega biodiversity country. India is among these 17 mega biodiversity countries. This was also one of the point that India is also having high mega biodiversity. There is another country, Australia is also among the mega biodiversity countries. Previously it was only 12. Books have shown previously 12, but it was increased up to 17. Now today it is 17 biodiversity countries are there in the world, and among them India is one among these to 17 megabiodiversity countries. This was all about the species. This I am saying in the species biodiversity. In species, what is the importance of species biodiversity? One more thing I want to tell, that there are how many, as per the books. I think this you can check the book whether this value may have changed. I don't know the correctly, but I think value is same what I am telling. But maybe if it is changed, you can check from the book. 24. There are 34. There are 34 biodiversity hotspots. Biodiversity hotspots. So if you are going for the analysis, see, there are 34 biodiversity hotspots on the earth. What is actually biodiversity? Now first I will explain biodiversity hotspot. So 34 biodiversity hotspots are on the earth, and among these, India is also having some biodiversity hotspots, particularly three biodiversity hotspots are found in the India. Three biodiversity hotspots. So among these three biodiversity hotspots, I will explain here who are those. One is Western Ghats. One is Indo-Burma is one. Indo-Burma is one hotspot among them. Another is Himalayas. Himalaya is another biodiversity hotspot, and one more biodiversity hotspot is there. And I forgot this time. Third is also another biodiversity hotspot is there. That are found in the India. Actually, what is biodiversity hotspot? Biodiversity hotspot is what actually? See, I will show here actually simple terms. I will tell. Biodiversity hotspot is an area. It is an area where this biodiversity is found. Actually, in biodiversity hotspot, what is actually happening? Why it is called as biodiversity hotspot? These species are having high risk of extinction. The species which are found in the biodiversity hotspot are having high risk of extinction. First point. Second point, these species are showing endemism. Endemism means that these species are not found anywhere else except that area. So biodiversity hotspot means the area where species are found and they are not found at other places also. So this is one endemism. Biodiversity hotspot shows endemism. Second, I told that they have high risk of extinction. Third point, first point endemism. Second point, high risk of extinction. Third about biodiversity hotspot is that these areas are having highest species biodiversity. So species are high in those areas. They are called as biodiversity hotspots. There are 34 biodiversity hotspots on the earth, and India is also having some biodiversity hotspots. I gave the examples that Indo-Burma and Himalaya is one of the two biodiversity hotspots, and there is one more, and this time I forgot it. You can check from the book which was that one hotspot. So this was all about the species biodiversity. One more thing is that what is the importance of species biodiversity? If there is biodiversity at the species level, what is the importance there? See here, what is the importance? There is an hypothesis. The hypothesis is called as Rivet-Popper hypothesis. Rivet-Popper hypothesis. This hypothesis will give us easy understanding how species diversity is important for ecosystem. How species biodiversity is important for ecosystem. See how Rivet-Popper hypothesis says one. He says it was given by Paul Ehrl. Paul Ehrl gave this Rivet-Popper hypothesis. What he told actually, suppose this is an aeroplane. This is an aeroplane, and this is suppose I'm in drawing. I told I am not having so much of drawing capability. So this is suppose aeroplane. In aeroplane, you all know there are rivets. Rivets are actually what? These are not like structure, they small structures which holds the different parts of the aeroplane. So those are called as rivets. That I told Rivet-Popper hypothesis. Rivets are present on the, this is wing, this is the wing, this is wing. And wing also, there will be rivets. So aeroplane is having the rivets. If we remove this rivet, 1 rivet, 2 rivet, 3 rivet, 4 rivet, 5 rivet, 6, 7, 8. If every passenger is coming and removing one rivet. finally the aeroplane may crash, it may damage. So there is a chance of crashing of this aeroplane when every passenger comes and takes rivet. So these are called rivets. And if the rivets are taken from the wing, it will be more dangerous for aeroplane. What actually he want to say, that these rivets he considered as species. When every person comes and will take species from the biodiversity, species from the earth. When every person takes species, that is kill species, what will happen? These species, when it will be taken, this aeroplane is an ecosystem, this aeroplane is an ecosystem, this aeroplane is an ecosystem. These rivets are what? Species. When species are removed, what will happen? This ecosystem will crash. And if the species are taken from the wing, then it will be more dangerous. Actually, the wing rivets he considered as keystone species. The species, keystone species, which are keystone species are the species which are most important to run the ecosystem. So these keystone species, if we remove, then it will be more dangerous for ecosystem to run. This was importance. How important is species biodiversity? So you can understand, if we are removing the species from the ecosystem, there is damage of ecosystem may damage. See, this was all about the species biodiversity and rivet popper hypothesis. Now I will tell one more point, that is what is that? That is third thing. The third biodiversity level is, this was second, that is genetic. First was genetic, second is species. I told different points in species biodiversity. Now the third thing, the third point, the third is, that is ecosystem biodiversity. Ecosystem biodiversity. So ecosystem biodiversity. So biodiversity at ecosystem level. So now we are going to find the biodiversity at ecosystem level. Before going to the biodiversity at ecosystem level, you should know what is ecosystem. Actually, what is ecosystem? See here. Suppose this is an area. If we are going for the area, this is an area. This is a place, and in this place there are different species. So we can say there are different types of individuals. There are different types of species on the area, and these species interact with the physical environment. The physical environment is air, water, and soil. When they interact with different physical environment, so they will form a complex structure that is called ecosystem. So ecosystem is comprising of both biotic as well as abiotic things. Biotic is living organisms are there. Abiotic is physical environment. So they interact with each other, and there will be nutrient cycling. There will be energy flow also within the same environment. So we will call this as ecosystem. Suppose desert is an ecosystem. Ocean is an ecosystem, pond is an ecosystem, because what is happening in the pond also, you will find fishes also, you will find zooplanktons, you will find phytoplankton. They are the biotic organisms, and if they are living. If we go for the physical environment, there is water inside it, there is soil inside it, there are nutrients within the water, so they all are interacting each other and they form a complex structure that is called ecosystem. This was the definition of ecosystem. Now I am going to tell ecosystem biodiversity. So there is diversity at ecosystem level also. If you are going for the desert, there are different types of species there. In desert, there are different types of plants, there are different types of animals. If you go to this ocean, there are different types of animals, there are different types of plants also. If you go any place, if you go for the pond, in a pond also there are different types of species, plants, animals. If you go any other side, if you go towards estuaries or another, there are estuaries are one of the ecosystem. If you go estuaries, there you will find different types of species. So the diversity of species, the diversity of the living organisms at ecosystem level is also variable. So within different ecosystems, we are finding different species. Suppose I will give an example. Inside the desert, how you will find different organisms at different ecosystems. Desert is an ecosystem. At the desert, you will find there is a kangaroo rat. Kangaroo rat has a capability that it can take the water, and it don't need the water for many days. Why? Actually, the kangaroo rat has a mechanism that it show fat metabolism to take the water from fat metabolism. So no need for the external water. This is in kangaroo. How kangaroo rat has shown acclimatization inside the desert. If you go for there is a plant in the desert. Here the plant also, those plants have shown, there are plants on the desert, in the desert, they have shown different types of spines. The spines are present on the there are thorns, there are spines which are thorns are present on the plants. The thorns are present on the plants which are present at the desert. So these thorns help them to reduce the water loss. Actually leaves, they have converted their leaves into thorns. They have converted their system into, one plant is he had converted, the plant, that plant has converted their system into phylloclade, like this. This is an system, they have converted system into phylloclade and they have made the thorns. This plant is also available around us. This is the desert. So different types of varieties and variabilities are found among the species also at ecosystem level. These were the different types of ecosystem, levels of ecosystem today I have explained. In the next lecture I will be explaining about that is how there is biodiversity loss. Next lecture, how there is biodiversity loss. If I have concluded that in the second lecture, then in third lecture I will take about the in situ and ex situ conservation, that is how we can conserve the biodiversity. Okay, thank you.